Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, emails are not an accepted way of communication. I called my patient's mistress, but I was just doing what I was told. Manager calls employees bluffed resignation. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Emails are not an accepted way of communication. I just got reminded of this story, and I thought I should share it with you because it's the best mix of pro-revenge and malicious compliance that I ever witnessed. This all happened from 2013 to 2015, and I am able to exactly recall what happened due to reasons I will explain later. So it started with my first day of middle school. My classmates and I were very excited. We all knew each other already because in Germany, where I'm from, secondary schools go from grade 5 to grade 12, sometimes only to grade 10, but that is irrelevant here. My classmates and I were excited because in 7th grade we got to have a new tutor, meaning a teacher who is responsible for the entire class. In Germany you are always in the same class. We didn't know our new tutor yet and were pretty excited for the new school year to begin. And as a bunch of very excited 12-year-olds are, we were loud. Very loud. In walked our new tutor, who I will call Ms. Karen, because that's exactly what she is. A Karen. She seemed taken aback by the loud class. And did nothing. We were engaged in conversations, so didn't really notice she was there. So she screamed. She didn't scream something like "be quiet," oh no. Ms. Karen just screamed. Just screamed. Like we had murdered her dog or something. So this is how the battle between basically my whole school, all the parents, and Ms. Karen started. Besides being our tutor, she was our German and English teacher as well, so she was responsible to teach us two of the most important classes in school. Let's just say I didn't learn how to speak English thanks to her. She generally didn't know how to handle kids or teenagers. She was quite young herself, I would say 30 years old. She didn't have any authority and therefore screamed a lot and gave a lot of detention. She also didn't know how to use technology, like most teachers do, somehow. One day she wanted to show us a movie with a projector, I don't recall why, and was just not able to make the stupid tech obey her. I was trying to be helpful, raised my hand and said, "Ms. Karen? Maybe you could press the power button so that the projector is working?" I was a very shy kid at that time, and really just wanted to help her. But what she said was, "OP, nobody likes a smart ass," in German, Klugscheißer. The way she said it, it was clearly meant as an insult. I was pretty taken aback by that. My tutor just insulted a 12-year-old girl. Me. That really bothered me because I just wanted to help and did nothing wrong, so I told my parents, who understandably were furious. They wrote an email to Ms. Karen asking her how dare she say such a thing to a student. Before I can get into what she did and said next, I have to explain how things worked at my school. At the beginning of every new school year, every student got some kind of journal in which you could write your schedule and what you got to do for homework every day. There also was a section called Communication, School-Parents, in which, for example, parents would excuse their children from class when they were too sick to attend. Ms. Karen answered my parents' mail saying that she was very sorry about what happened, but that future communication between her and parents should be through the journal alone. She was literally the only teacher who saw it that way. So in comes the malicious compliance. The incident with the insult and her screaming problem weren't the only things that made her a Karen. She also gave the whole class bad oral grades. If you don't know what that is, you got graded for your engagement in class and for your homework, vocabulary tests, presentations, etc. Ms. Karen had the bad habit of doing surprise vocabulary tests, which we all failed, always. Because if we don't know what words we had to learn, how are we supposed to know them? So whenever we had one of the surprise tests, we all got a 6, equals failed. My oral grade before this test was a 2, equals 1 is the best grade, 6 the worst, so it meant I was good. After the test, however, I had a 4, pretty bad, not failing, but almost. The same happened to my classmates. She all gave us a piece of paper on which she wrote our grade and other things like forgotten homework. On my paper she wrote forgotten homework 3 times. I was very confused by that because I was certain I only forgot to do an assignment once. Not 3 times. So I went and told my parents about that again. The following dialogue is directly translated from a page's ongoing conversation in my journal, Oh the Sweet Sweet Compliance, between my mom and Ms. Karen. 16.06.2015. Concerning oral grade English, yes, my mom straight up acted like she was writing an email. Dear Ms. Karen, you remarked that our daughter OP forgot to do her English homework 3 times. OP told us that she only recalls forgetting it once. We ask you to clarify when and what our daughter forgot to do. Sincerely, OP's parents. And a second email right after that. Concerning oral grade German. Dear Ms. Karen, you did not explain or remarked why OP got graded a 3 in German. Context: I thought I was a 2 at least. Please explain further so that we can understand this decision. Sincerely, OP's parents. I gave the entries in my journal to Ms. Karen, who just stared at me for a few minutes and then wrote in it. First, 1.06, dates when I didn't do my homework. I obviously do not write down what it was about. Look at the class book. Context: a book where the teachers remark all kinds of things. The exclamation mark she drew extra big. And concerning the second entry she wrote, engagement in class low, homework 30.03. Date of the homework, very bad, no improvement whatsoever. My mom wrote this. 17.06.15. Concerning oral grade German. Dear Ms. Karen, OP showed us the homework you talked about, that you apparently collected in class and graded. OP's homework was only remarked with introduction and not understandable. The evaluation very bad, we do not see and do not understand. Sincerely, OP's parents. Next to this text she actually printed out and glued in a miniature version of my homework as proof. As to why she did that, my mom told me, Karen wants us to communicate through the journal, so you can't just show her your homework, it has to be I in the journal. Ms. Karen, the next day, wrote this, right next to it. No, I didn't grade it, I only wrote down what I saw. So basically she didn't have anything clever to say about that. My mom also wrote 18.06.15. Concerning oral grade English. Dear Ms. Karen, we had a look into the class book, and now know what missing homework you referred to. We do not accept 2 missing homework. This part my mom wrote in red. We as OP's parents forgot to sign her grade on the vocabulary test. This was not her fault, yes, apparently letting your parents sign your very bad vocab test is considered homework now. OP merely forgot to do one little part of the homework, not the whole thing. I had to write an essay, and forgot to write a conclusion or something like that. Sincerely. Ms. Karen just wrote, very sad, she really reminds me of a certain person being in charge of the US. After that she made the whole class write in our journals that emails are now an acceptable way of communication as well. I and a lot of classmates, their parents have done something similar, and from what I heard, so did parents of all kinds of students who had Ms. Karen as a teacher, magically received better oral grades. Mission accomplished? Nah, we're not there yet. Apparently, I wasn't the only student she wronged and called names, because parents started complaining to the principal. We got told by other teachers, who all thought she was pathetic and petty, that she ran out of the principal's office crying and screaming. Ms. Karen disappeared after she was our teacher for 2 years because she wanted to move back home. Nobody believed that. So I think that's it. It's pretty long and I apologize if this shouldn't make sense. English obviously isn't my first language. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I found my journal from 8th grade a few hours ago, because I'm preparing to move out of my parents' home, and I just had to write this post because in hindsight the whole Ms. Karen matter was hilarious. I have a few more stories about her, so if you're interested, just ask. I graduated high school last year and always have a great laugh with my former classmates when we remember the time we got bullied by our teacher, so we bullied her out of school. I called my patient's mistress, but I was just doing what I was told. This happened back in 2009. I was working part-time at a doctor's office while I was in nursing school. I was one of the receptionists and did all the filing and cataloging and such. It was boring work, but the doctor, my boss, guaranteed me a job after nursing school, so that's why I did it. This particular doctor was an orthopedic surgeon. We had lots of patients coming in for MRIs, CT scans, and X-rays. This one particular patient, Frank, was scheduled to have surgery in a couple days, and he needed to come and pick up his MRIs and X-rays from our office and bring them with him to his procedure. Yes, looking back at how ass-backwards things used to be is so frustrating. All these things are 100% electronic now, and even back then they were too, but my boss was old school. So anyway, I called Frank to tell him to come pick up his images, but he didn't answer. I called him again during lunch, but still no answer, so I left him a message. The following day I called him again, but still no answer. It was imperative that Frank got his images or else he wouldn't be able to have his surgery. So I looked in his file to see if he had any other contact information. He listed his home phone number, as well as his wife's cell. I called his house and left a message, and I also called his wife, Amy, but she didn't answer either, so I left her a message as well. The office manager, Diane, told me to just call whoever was listed in his emergency contacts, because if Frank didn't get his images and missed his surgery, then she would have to do a whole new stack of paperwork to reschedule him, and she didn't want to be bothered. I looked to see if there was an emergency contact, and Frank listed a woman named Helen. Relation to patient, girlfriend. I told Diane I didn't want to call Helen when I had already left a message for Amy, as it would put me in an awkward position. Diane said that as long as the patient listed them as an emergency contact, I could call them. She also said that it's not uncommon for couples to be separated but still legally married for insurance reasons, and that this could possibly be the case for Frank and Amy, which I guess made sense. I really wanted to believe that no one would be stupid enough to put their secret lover as their emergency contact. I didn't want to get fired for being insubordinate, so I called Helen, and she actually answered her phone. I was secretly hoping she wouldn't, and told her Frank's images needed to be picked up prior to his surgery. She came by during lunch, got the images, and then left. I immediately called Frank again to let him know that Helen picked up his images, and to not worry about it, but this fool wasn't answering his phone, so I left him another message. A couple hours later, Amy called back and said she wasn't able to answer before because she was teaching, but she got our message, and was coming to pick up Frank's images now that school was done for the day. I told her that the images had already been picked up. I tried to be as vague as possible. Amy, who picked them up? I know Frank is still busy at his office and hasn't had the chance to come get them. Me, again, trying really hard to be vague, we called someone from his emergency contact list. Amy, was it his brother, Steve? Me, at this point I'm really nervous, no, not his brother. Amy, well then who? Me, Helen. Amy, who is Helen? I don't know anyone named Helen. Me, I'm not sure, but since she was on Frank's emergency contact list, and no one else was answering their phone, we called her, and she already came, and got the images. Confused, Amy hung up. The following day was Frank's surgery. The day after Frank's surgery, my boss jokingly asked me what the hell did you do to that guy? He came in all pissed at me saying that my secretary told his wife about his other girlfriend. I told my boss what happened and that Diane told me to call the girlfriend, and he understood. Diane tried to throw me under the bus by saying I didn't tell her that Helen was Frank's girlfriend, and that I had told her Helen was just a friend, and that she never would have given me the green light to call a patient's mistress, but I reminded her in front of my boss that she had said it was possible for Frank and Amy to be married but separated. This bitch was trying to cover her ass because she probably thought it was some kind of HIPAA violation, but nothing ever happened. I was 18 years old at the time and just did whatever my superiors told me because I was really thirsty for job security after college, but I ended up not working there and went to work at a hospital instead. Manager calls employees bluffed resignation. I was working for a decent-sized family company that had internally promoted a manager from a different department to run a sizable branch for the company. He was warned about a particular employee who was known to cause trouble and was generally very contentious. I will call her Karen. Karen worked in inside sales and was a notorious gossip who loved to spread rumors regardless of their validity. She also made several younger male coworkers uncomfortable with her rather aggressive advances. This was mostly mitigated to how particular clothing fit a guy, but occasionally progressed to outright propositions for their mutual lunch breaks. At best, she was okay at her job, but generally made the workplace less than stellar. Karen also had a reputation for annually seeking raises from the prior manager by resigning. This was usually met with some form of concession just to placate her and keep her and her customer base on board. The new manager heard this story, and the passing of the info about Karen just so happened to coincide with a drop in sales, to a small degree the company's, and to a larger, hers. So to Karen's routine, she walked into the new, inexperienced manager with the news that she simply wasn't going to be able to work there anymore. Unfazed, he immediately reacted with sincere regret that they wouldn't get to work with each other professionally. Karen's confident look immediately shifted to fear. She floundered out a sentence about how she wasn't making what she needed to make, to which the manager totally agreed with her, and again reiterated his best wishes in her next opportunity. He then stood and said that he would need something formal written up for HR, but she could do it anytime that day. Wasting no time, he immediately sent a glowing note to the staff about losing a true asset to the department and invited everyone to a going-away party in the kitchen that afternoon. At the party, Karen was a woman walking and interacting with guests at her own funeral. I imagine she was wondering how she would go home to her husband and explain that she had quit her job that morning. Fortunately for all, she was far too prideful to admit that it was all a tactic, and that was Karen's last day with the company. Afterwards, the branch ran fairly smoothly. It turns out she was indeed mediocre, and her customers were more than happy to have a fresh rep on their accounts. A few years later, the manager was again promoted, and the pseudo-fired move was renamed, got left to go pursue other opportunities. As in, Karen got left to go pursue other opportunities. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.